Alright, this is going to be a bit of a longer review of Inuyashiki, the 2018 live-action Japanese movie based off the seinen manga and anime. Now, I have seen the anime. It's pretty violent. It's the story is basically our main character is an older man with 2 children and a wife, and they don't respect him because he looks older than he is, or maybe he is, and he's like looked down upon at his company, and no one really likes him except for he finds a lost dog. So he's walking the dog in the park and killed by an alien ship. An alien ship lands on him and another teenager in the park, and the aliens are scared, so they go, let's just remake them and then leave. And then, however, they don't understand human physiology, so they turn our protagonist and the other teenager into cyborgs. So they no longer need to eat, and they're not really living beings. They look human, but they're basically like robot skeletons underneath. They're cyborgs, basically. So Inuyashiki decides he's not really sure what to do because these amazing powers don't really help his situation. Being a cyborg doesn't make your family respect you. It doesn't make your boss respect you. So he sort of mopes around until he finds a pigeon and realizes he's got powers to sort of heal anything that's injured. It's not really specified in the anime or this movie. However, the teenager on the other side, he decides to mostly focus his powers on offense. So he can kill things just by pointing at them, and he fires a small metal bead, usually at people, to kill them. And he's got a friend who's a bit of a hermit because he's been bullied. So he coaxes his friend to go back to school and handles the bullies. But then, of course, everyone's scared of him. And the movie has to do a lot with very little. Like, the visual effects are pretty solid. However, the story is divided into 11 episodes for the anime, so there's a lot of room to breathe for the character development. In this movie, you don't really get that at all. They have to skip some stuff, and Shishigumi, the teenager who becomes a villain, he basically just starts shooting at random people. And in the anime, but in the movie, he wipes out a family because he's mad or something, and then he's supposed to take out bullies, but he doesn't, so he just hops to, he gets caught basically for the family being wiped out. So they immediately turn him into a fugitive, and they cut out a lot of stuff from the manga and the anime. So the movie has to sort of shorten it, and it suffers for this because we're mainly focusing on the villain. The hero, Inuyashiki, just heals people, and he doesn't really get to do much besides that, and then he's got like, I gotta stop this guy. So in the anime, it's a really Deus Ex Machina sort of ending, but this movie wanted to go for a trilogy, so they didn't give it a finite ending. So if you watch this expecting like a sort of finished closed loop story, you won't get that. But the first half is just sort of like 2 of them sort of developing their powers, and the second half ramps things up immediately and turns into like too much action, really. They sort of skip stuff and turn Shishigumi into like a super killer guy. There's not enough time to develop his love interest or his situation, really, and like his sort of butting heads with the government and the police. It immediately turns into an action fest, like a big budget superhero movie. So they do have that sort of obligatory, them flying around the city with jetpacks and then going into space and just doing all this crazy stuff and having the big finale, and then they work in the family somehow. So overall, didn't like the movie. I like the anime a lot more because it's spread out and slower paced. The movie is, it's 2 hours, 10 minutes, but there's not enough time to sort of turn it all into one narrative because they tried to make it 3 movies, and that sort of hurts it too. So the movie's visual effects are fine. The core story's still there, but they're just leaping all over the place and not giving Inuyashiki enough character development himself. So the movie's definitely a step down from the anime. So I give Inuyashiki 2018 a 5 out of 10.